Are you wondering whether or not you should be playing Starfield or No Man's Sky? I'm Controlled Chaos. We're going to get right into that. So let's first talk about the similarities. They're both space games. They're both able to have you be on ground fights and in space fights and walk around on ground and fly around in space. They both have base building. They both let you modify your ships and modify your weapons and your looks. Now, that's everything that they have in similarity. After that, that's where it greatly diverges. And so, where it diverges is Starfield is an RPG. That is its focus. It's about telling a story, having an adventure, and going on missions. That's what it's primarily designed for. Now, No Man's Sky is an exploration survival game. That is what it's meant for. You're supposed to go out there and explore the galaxy. You're supposed to go out there and survive the harsh environments of the worlds. And that's where the major differences are. There are some other differences though, and we'll go over them. First off, base building. Base building in Starfield is very simplistic. It's you're given rooms to place and connect together. You're given structures to build, such as harvesters, energy gatherers, storage containers, and landing pads. Now, No Man's Sky has all of those things, but it's gone a step further. You're able to build out floorings, walls, and choose different walls and different floorings. You're able to make stairs onto your buildings. You're able to put different types of roofs onto your buildings. Not only that, you can also build out in sort of the atmosphere area if you do things right. On top of that, you can also build underwater. You can build underwater habitats, which is nice. So the building is way more in No Man's Sky. Then let's talk about the modifications to ships and weapons. Starfield, you have the ability to build and customize your ship and put weapons on hard points where you want to put them. It is very customizable. You can change the color looks of the whole entire thing or individual parts to fit your feel, to make your ship look unique. Same thing goes with weapons. You choose a weapon and you can choose different add-ons and it will make your weapon look differently. And that's really good. Let's now talk about No Man's Sky's ships and weapons. So in No Man's Sky, you don't get the opportunity to build out your ship and make it look the way you want. You have to hunt for the ship you want and either buy it from another pilot or find it crashed and repair it. You can, however, modify it with modules. You can put different weapons on it, increase the strength of your shields, and things like that with mods. The weapons is the same thing. You have to find the weapon and buy the weapon you're looking for, which they call multi-tools. And after that, any changes you want to make to it with the mods is the same thing as it is with the ships in No Man's Sky. It doesn't change the look. You can't change that, but you can change what weapons fire on, what type of weapons you have on, how strong they are, and things like that by adding mods. And that's really good. When you're flying around in space or in Starfield, when you're traveling around, and let's say you're going from one solar system to another, it brings up a load screen. And it's a black screen, and then pops up some information to give you some basic information, and then boom, you're in the new solar system. When you fly from planet to planet, it plays a cinematic of you flying away, and then once again, load screen, and then it shows cinematic of you being in there, and you're now in your pilot seat or wherever view you've chosen. The other thing is when you land on planets. When you land on planets, it also does a load screen. It does an animation of you landing on the planet after it's loaded, and same thing when you take off. It plays an animation when you take off, and then load screen. And that's, not much for exploring, but it helps out with the storytelling. There's also fast travel. You can bring up your scanner and you can select your ship and just hit the E key, and you will fast travel and immediately be in the cockpit of your ship. However, No Man's Sky does things differently. When you go to warp to another solar system, it does have a load screen, but they've hidden that load screen by showing your ship take off and go into warp, and then while you're loading to the next area, it has an animation playing the whole entire time of your ship being in that warp. It's more immersive that way. After that, let's say you're wanting to land on a planet. Guess what? There's no load screen. It does load, so you'll see maybe a moment where it hangs, and a brief moment. The more powerful computer you have, the less of that you'll see. But you literally fly into the atmosphere, can fly around the planet in the atmosphere, and fly just over the terrain, which makes it more exploratory. And then when you land, there is no load screen. You basically land, you hit your button, which on the computer is the E key, to get out of your ship, and boom, you're out of your ship and done. I want to talk about the scanning feature and the harvesting feature in both of these games. The scanning in Starfield is basically you bring up your scanner and then you click on what you want to scan. If it's an ore, it'll automatically, okay, it's scanned, it's done. If it's a creature or it's some plant life, you have to scan those multiple times of the same type over and over and over again. When you're doing the harvesting, it's literally click, okay, it breaks apart and it's in your inventory, and then that's it. No Man's Sky, on the other hand, when you do the scanning, it's a one-time scan for that one object, whether it be a mineral, a plant, or a creature. Whatever object you scan, it's at one time for that plant and done for that thing. When you're dealing with the harvesting, it also has you harvest, but there's a lot more to harvest in No Man's Sky. A lot more of the things are harvestable, and you'll be scanning a lot more stuff and harvesting a lot more stuff, and it does disappear after you harvest it. But when you find a huge area with, let's say, copper, instead of just clicking your button to get that and done, you actually have to have a terrain manipulator installed and move around, and it's a more active experience with doing that. So with all of that information about Starfield and No Man's Sky, which one should you play? Honestly, if you like all types of gameplay like I do, you like the RPG stuff, you like exploring, you like survival games, things like that, play both. If you're just into storytelling and RPGs, play Starfield. If you're more into survival and exploring universes and having a lot to explore, go with No Man's Sky. If you're more about visual customization looks than customizing just the abilities of what you're doing go with Starfield. If that doesn't matter to you and you're more about hunting and finding what you want for your looks, then you want to go No Man's Sky. If you're wanting more of a relaxed gameplay, No Man's Sky. You're wanting more action adventure, go with Starfield. And those are all of your choices. If you found this video interesting and helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And don't forget, there's memberships available for you, which give special perks. Just clicking that join button right next to the subscribe button. Have a good night.